Why is this that you can't do an IV right now?
So there's something about my veins and the needle in it. I have no idea why, but I
Okay.
figured so that I didn't faint before we got started, we'll do it afterwards.
Today I have Adrienne. This is Vitality Lounge drip session number 3. Adrienne is here with me today. She declined on the IV during the drip session.
So that way I can kind of get through this whole interview without
Sure.
paying attention to my IV too much.
Sure. And can you tell me, because you're very well versed in this stuff, what are you going to get in your IV?
So I'm going to do my B vitamins. I'm going to do the NAD. I'm going to do some glutathione and some vitamin C.
Gotcha. And can you tell me why each? Because I've explained to my listeners before why of each, but I love to hear your explanation of what you think about each of those vitamins that we offer.
Okay, so for me personally, the vitamin B I like because my body doesn't really make or utilize it very well when I put it in an oral cap. So the IV is great because my body will actually utilize it a little bit better. The glutathione, vitamin C, because I want that detox process, I want that anti-inflammatory. I want to make sure my body's cleaning out very well. Plus, genetically, I do not produce glutathione very well. So again, all the more reason to get it in an IV so that my body can stay detoxifying, emptying out its cells, regenerating, all that fun stuff. And then the NAD because it's great for mitochondrial health.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm getting the same thing right now, and I think the only difference is I'm getting B12 as well.
Okay.
I like a little B12 in mine.
Yeah.
So you've given a really good explanation thus far. So tell me a little bit about your background and how you know so much about what's going on in this IV, what's going on in people's bodies. How did you get started in this arena?
Whoa. Okay. So long story short, right? It's 20 some years ago. So we've been down a journey. I was a mechanical engineer for the automotive industry. Loved it. At the time, it really wasn't a place for young females. We'll just say that. So as much as I loved it, I ended up getting out of it just for my own health reasons. Okay. My brain is just an engineering brain. So kind of going to the gym. That's how I got into the gym, was working out with the guys at the shop, who I actually grew up with as well. So I found myself kind of watching the trainers and liking what I was seeing, what they were doing. And I remember the first time I grabbed the dumbbell and it was like, oh my God, like the clouds parted, the sun was shining, it was like the music of awe. Totally fell in love with the gym. Realized naturally I was strong, had no idea what that meant. And the more I started working with clients, getting personal training, doing personal training, they would come to me with questions, or I would notice that they had issues. So it just started me researching on my own. So it was funny because you would say, why does my shoulder hurt, or my shoulder hurts? And the next day it's like, okay, 5, 10, or 20-page report. Which one do you want? So that was kind of fun. So my clients kind of started me down this path of researching differently than most trainers because I didn't like not having an answer. I felt like that's what they were paying me for. Then one day I was doing an RDL, rotated my SI joint, ended up in a chiropractic office way later, and found out I had scoliosis from being hit by a car when I was 6. Well, engineering kicks in, right? Mechanical engineering, bones go where muscles put them. So long, short, short, long, how do I make my spine straight? And the only way that I knew to do that was with exercises. So started getting into studying the human body that way, what muscles attach to what, and realized how far that went, right? And how connected the body was muscularly, structurally. Fast forward that a few years, and I ended up finding Paul Chek, the godfather, I guess you can say, of corrective exercise. From him, I found Charles Poliquin. Once I found Coach Poliquin, that was pretty much, he opened my door for everything, right? Why I chose him, I don't know. But my intrigue with him was the strength part, because I'm a small person and I was naturally strong. Muscle is not easy for a woman to put on. It's not easy for a man to put on, let's be real. So being this small, the best way to fast forward, right? We all want results yesterday for today, is to know what you're doing, right? The more education you have, the more you understand how things work. In my viewpoint, it's kind of backwards engineering. So if you know how to break it, you know how to fix it, right? If you know how to fix it, you know how to cut corners. So it's understanding how things work. And literally that just more doors, more doors, more doors. And next thing you know, I'm a human engineering specialist.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've been to your gym before. And how did you decide on your gym space? How did you decide where you wanted to be? How did you decide on the name FE3? How did you decide everything that you wanted to do? So, because the human body is so diverse and you can do so many different things with the human body, how did you choose your pathway and what you wanted to do with your individual clients?
Honestly, I'm going to tell you, it was just like it laid itself out. One brick at a time just fell and I just kept stepping on it. So how did I choose the space? Really not on purpose. This is my second place, getting ready to go into my third. And it was kind of like moving from one bigger space to another bigger space, right? But the setup of my gym is I'm a strength coach and I'm an engineer, which means I want good shit that's going to help my clients get results yesterday for today, keeping them safe, but then also preventing as well as fixing.
Sure.
So the equipment was based on not just my coach kind of leading me, but also understanding the levers and pulleys of it. The average machine is designed for a 5'9" person. Well, I'm not 5'9". How tall are you?
6.
There you go. So we already don't fit the equipment. So the equipment that I used was actually created by a mechanical engineer who was also a bodybuilder.
Nice.
Go figure.
Yep.
But even the equipment, I mean, it's not going anywhere. Right. Again, the engineering thing, it's like pick it up once, right? So I spend the money on quality. I'm quality versus quantity with everything I do.
100%.
But as far as the evolution of how I work with my clients, it was just what was presenting themselves. You know, I've been in this 26 years and I still get clients that walk in the door and I'm like, holy shit, I don't know anything, right? But that leads you down a path of studying and researching and learning more and more. But that's kind of, it really has fallen into place that way. Or me just deciding something with myself. What do I want to know about myself? What do I want to know about this client? What do I want to know about this or that? The other thing is this. I've learned that it's hard for me to trust my clients with other people, okay? Not a control way, but if my standards are up here and I know what my client needs, how do I find the person to do that?
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was hard. And also, if a client's on my floor, right, which is how we'll talk about how I got into soft tissue work. If a client's on my floor and I have that intuition of seeing, oh my God, that fascial line or that muscle line is stopping that joint from moving, I want to have the ability to help my client right then and there. So that led into learning about the 9 modalities of body work I do. How can I help my client right there on the floor to get better? For instance, if they're trying to do a front squat, you know, getting that elbow position is a huge ordeal for people, right? So you'll have a lot of people do this. This is great for a second, but if you really want to get into proper form and utilizing the spine correctly, it could be a tightness down this line. So I can go grab my tool, scrape it real quick, and boom, the next thing you know, they can get their arm up.
Sure.
So that kind of led me into what other things I can get into. And of course, nutrition plays a part in that. So once you go down that path, man, the doors just fly open because there's so much to understand about food, but also understanding that it's different per person because every individual has a different gut biome. So how you feed somebody is based on them, the same as I train them based on neuromuscular or neurological neurotransmitters, right? For instance, if you're a dopamine-driven guy and I say, we're going to do 15 reps of this, you're going to kill me. You're going to make, dude, I'm not doing 15 reps of shit. Well, if you're acetylcholine-driven and I say, we're going to do 5 sets of 3, you're like, and wait 3 minutes in between.
All right.
Right?
Yep.
So learning to understand my clients and what they need and works best for them so that they actually enjoy being in the gym.
Yeah.
Huge.
You talked about having 3 locations. Your third location is actually directly located behind this building. Can you tell me why you chose that space and what you're going to be doing with that space over there?
Oh man, so I've been looking for a really long time. So this was great falling into my lap. Why I like this space is because I have the gym. I have room for all of my bodywork people. I have room for my human engineering. I have room for estheticians. You're close by, which is great. But there's also a beautiful coffee shop attached to the front of it because love coffee for people, but being able to give people high quality, clean coffee and all my little mixers that I have is just, again, I feel like it's a gift for my clients.
Sure. And speaking of your clients, is there a certain type of client that you're working with? I know you work with all age ranges. And can you tell me how you got into working with pediatrics all the way up into, geriatrics,
Yeah. So interestingly enough, my very first client was at the time 63. She's been with me 22 years. So she's 85 now.
Wow.
She's on 0 medications.
Yeah.
0 medications. So that kind of helped me to see the difference in the older people. And again, the kids, I mean, it's one of those things that whoever walks in my door, there's a reason for it. Mm-hmm. They can say, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. No, you don't. You think that's what you're here for, but nobody just wants to lose 20 pounds, meaning this. If your body's healthy, you don't have 20 pounds to lose because it will automatically find its natural homeostasis. So that won't be a problem. So whether it's something that's emotional, whether it's something that is, heavy metals, mold toxicities, gut dysbiosis, hormonal imbalances, bad food choices. Most of the time, I will say this though, most of the clients that come to me already eat what they consider a very clean diet. Right? I don't have a lot of junk food people that come to me. So being able to take them to that level and say, yes, this looks good on paper, but here's what it's doing to your body, right? Then what happens is, let's say I'm working with a woman who comes to me, she's got 3 children at home. It's not that I don't have a choice, but it just happens to bleed into the fact that now we're working with her kids. Or her food plan is easier for her to make one meal for the whole family than just one for herself and let her kids eat whatever.
Sure.
So it bleeds over. If I'm working with a woman who comes to me and she happens to be pregnant, the next thing you know, I'm treating her fetus.
Yeah.
How am I treating her fetus? You're like, what the hell does that even mean? If the mom has gut dysbiosis, she has a candida overgrowth, she has heavy metal toxicity, she has Hashimoto's, how do I keep her body quiet enough that it doesn't pass on to the baby, but still help her get through this pregnancy right? So that's how you kind of start working with the fetus.
Yeah.
Then, of course, when baby's born, it's like, okay, well, now the mom trusts me. And they say, okay, I'm breastfeeding. Is this a good thing for me? If I cannot breastfeed, what's the best baby formula? How do I feed my infant growing up and getting through the first year of life?
Sure.
They just trust me that way, which is great. And I never, ever, ever give information that I can't back up, I don't believe in, I don't trust in. And if I don't know something, I back off.
Sure.
And I find somebody that knows, right? So that's kind of how I got involved, or how it's evolved. Now, I have young athletes. I have high school athletes that end up being college athletes that I still work with. I've got professional athletes. I've got people with cancer. And I think it's because of the way I just work with the body and I don't leave any stone unturned. And also looking at that person as an individual.
Sure.
So I think that's how it's just literally evolved. I never said, this is who I want to work with, that's it, right? Yeah. And I will say this, anybody that comes through my door that stays, it's 1,000% the people that are no doubt ready to make a change.
Yeah.
Right? There's no BSing, there's no nothing. And I'm not a mean coach, not at all. But at the same time, I'm a serious coach. So it's like when you come to me, you're ready to come to me. And my clients even say that to another one if they refer them. Because they're like, oh my God, you get such great results. And it's like, you're not ready for Coach Adrienne,
Yeah. And you touch on a good point. It's so individualized for every single patient because, everybody is so different, even, down to your genetics. So that's what we try to decipher here at Vitality Lounge FE3. We really try to figure out what's right for you as an example because there is no cookie cutter.
No.
There is none. At all. And people try to sell it as a cookie cutter, but unfortunately, the reason you come to somebody like me, that come to somebody like you, is because we will get down to the brass tacks of what is going on with you as an individual. And that's where, I think the real, the value is in having somebody like you or me in your corner,
Well, I thought it was pretty cool coming here, meeting you and realizing you guys did the genetic testing, you pull blood panels, you do all that stuff because we use the same companies a lot, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
To know that it's all integrated.
For sure.
Which is why I feel comfortable sending people here, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we want to check everything, every biomarker we can check for an individual that they're willing to let us check. I will check on them to make sure that we're developing a plan for them. We've even gone as far as just doing the blood test just for IVs alone, to see what you're deficient in.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit more about, like, you're touching on women's health a little bit, can you touch a little bit more on women's health and what you've kind of used in your back pocket, in your own personal experience, some of the methodologies for you as an individual, and what you kind of pass on to your clients from a women's health standpoint? Because we did have a guest on to talk more about men's health, and I'd love to hear from you about more of the women's health.
Sure. Wow. Okay. So literally my journey with hormones started way before I even knew. So I started taking birth control pills at 18 years old, right?
Yep.
Little did I know I was on hormone replacement therapy at that time, right? It's an anabolic steroid. Let's be real. So that, taking those, I don't think women understand the ramifications of that, right? They're getting on it younger and younger. I've had people in my gym 9 and 12 years old on birth control pills. Never even had an ovulation. The permanent damage that can cause to the brain, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, your hypothalamus pituitary ovary axis, your hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, and understanding the gut dysbiosis that comes with that. Understanding that the younger you start and you don't even have an ovulation, your body doesn't even understand its own cycle. Then you shut that off for how many years of never having an ovulation. So basically, a woman who is on a birth control pill should be treated like a man. What do I mean by that? She doesn't ovulate, which means I would treat her circadian and her monthly cycle the same as I would a man, which means she needs to restore her hormone levels every single night, not in a week span like a normal woman that's actually ovulating and having a cycle. Coming off of that pill, it's not just you come off and stop.
Right.
That's terrible for anybody to offer that kind of advice. So it's rehabilitating her entire body from that. It's almost no different than a woman going through perimenopause, right? Because that's kind of what happens. I was watching a podcast recently by 4 doctors, and they were talking about, we just don't understand that women are getting younger and younger going into perimenopause. Well, you're giving birth control pills like it's in Halloween, right? Like it's trick or treat. I need a birth control pill for everything, but they won't give women hormones. You can go in and get a birth control pill even if you're into your 50s to deal with your menopause symptoms, but you can't get hormones that we naturally make in our body.
Or even get a hormone panel drawn from your primary care.
Can't even get a hormone panel drawn.
Yeah, so like doing blood work with your primary care physician, sometimes they will just not draw it.
They won't.
Yeah.
No, you have to fight for it, and then they never finish it. They never pull the whole panel.
Yeah.
And they don't pull the liver panel. They don't pull the thyroid panel.
And if you're within that normal range, but we all know, as we know, looking at labs, within normal range is not within normal range.
It's not within normal range.
Yeah.
And there's so many other biomarkers you need to look at. And I think that's huge for people to understand is your blood markers it's a snapshot.
Yeah.
Right? Which means it's a picture of 1 second in your body.
Yeah.
You need those larger panels to be able to tell how your body actually systematically is working in order to know what markers are really off and what ones are really working. You may have low hormones, right? It may show that. But then if you start looking at the other markers, it's like, well, yes, your hormones are off, but here's why.
Right.
Right? Or these markers are off, but it's because of your hormones.
Sure.
So understanding that, I think, is huge. And I don't mean to talk about medical doctors in a bad way. They're great for what they're great for, and they only know what they know, but they don't really know how to they don't know how to read the blood markers. And that's why a lot of my clients, the reason I got into having my own company to pull from is because I couldn't get the doctors to pull them because they didn't know how to read them.
Right.
Right? So, again, it is what it is. And again, they try to run things through insurance, yada, yada. If you want good health care, you got to almost skip over the insurance part.
I agree. Yeah.
So that was my journey with hormones in the beginning. And now because of birth control and because of not being able to get the help that I really needed until I learned it myself, I ended up going through perimenopause a little bit earlier. So it was like, okay, well, how do I negate that? I don't want my ovaries to shut down, right? So there's many modalities or methods that I use to make that happen. But yes, using small TRT. Right now I do testosterone, I do estradiol, I do progesterone. I use forms that aren't typically regulated for women anyway, but those are the forms I use because it gives me the ability to control my dosing.
Yeah.
Very specific, right? The hormones are sensitive. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
So making sure you're getting the right forms for you, right? How do you break it down? I'm very sensitive to testosterone, very sensitive. I also use things to help my ovaries to stay healthy. So I even need less than I would normally need or a normal woman would need. So again, knowing genetics, like you said, like how does your body process it? What does it need? How does it do? So that really helped me to learn about my clients and, kind of got me down the hormone path. Again, I can sit here and say it's cookie cutter or this is the protocol for this or that, but it's really not. It's really based on the person. And I will say this, let me say this. I don't think women should be afraid of HRT. Get that out. It's a tool. It's you need it, right? It's protecting against age-related disease. It's protecting against bad skin. I mean, you name it, right? You want to look good naked on the outside, you got to look good on the inside.
And just mood, cognition, just everything.
Everything.
Your hormones affect everything.
It does. And one of the biggest hormones is insulin.
Yeah.
Okay?
For sure.
So I want women to not just be afraid of testosterone or of hormone replacement therapy, but also it's not the end all be all. And sometimes it's not the cure. Right? Sometimes it's a tool to help you feel better, to deal with what's really happening, right? If somebody's like plastered on the floor, help them get up, help them get motivated, right? And sometimes once everything else is done, especially if you're in menopause, after menopause, in menopause, you need that to help you with everything else, right? So understanding how to look at each female and say, when is it time? How is it time? Is it temporary? Is it permanent? What is your dosing going to be? And what's the best method for you? Just like everything else we do.
Yeah. Now, some things can be cookie cutter, right? So, like, how often or once you start on the hormone replacement therapy, do you recommend labs and follow-up labs? You know what I mean? And what do you recommend typically? Because that's a big question I get all the time is like, okay, I kind of found out what's wrong with me. I want to start on something, but I need my labs rechecked. You know what I mean? How often do you recommend labs, or is that individualized as well?
Okay, yes and no. Okay, if you're just coming in, we 1000% know HRT is your thing, and that's what you need. Give it a year.
Yeah.
6 months to a year, because it's going to take your body time. The first 3 months, don't get me wrong, you can feel it within a week, right? You can feel it within a week, but your body needs to accept that and regulate it and become. Just like when I work with women and we're changing their lifestyle in general, and we're cleaning things up, and we're changing their food, we're getting their insulin levels down. It takes a good cycle, a good 30 days, sometimes 60 days, to see their period, their cycle, their menses come on board to show the regulation of their hormones, right? So it's the same thing when you're taking HRT. You need time for your body to adjust. So it's those, oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God, this feels great. Oh my God, this is fantastic. Okay, now everything else fall into place. So 6 months maybe, but a good year. Now, if I have somebody that has Hashimoto's, if I have somebody that has heavy metal toxicity, if I have somebody that has mold toxicity, if I have somebody that has gut dysbiosis, I may look at that markers and say, okay, we may not need a hormone panel at this time, but I want to know what's going on with your thyroid now that we've been doing this. Let's look and see what's going on now that we've pulled the metals out and detoxified you of the metals. How are your hormones responding? Can we lower the dose? So yes, it's cookie cutter, and no, it's not. Aw.
Come here. Okay.
Aw.
She missed me. I know. Yes, she is. But that's all right. We can continue. She'll sit on my lap, I'm sure. So, oh, yes. Good girl. I know. You miss me. Okay, relax. So, in talking with that, so you talked a lot about, so this is just, that's why they call it hormone optimization, right? This is just a part of what we do, right? So sometimes we optimize the hormones so that other things can come back online. But a lot of things like diet, exercise, all of these things, especially diet, I feel you are really heavy into the diet. How does that affect your hormones? How does that affect everything? How does your gut microbiome affect everything? And sometimes it's, it could be just your gut, it could be just your diet, it could be just you're overweight and you're not able to produce the hormones that you, once you get the weight off, sometimes your hormones come back online, right?
So that goes back to what I said about it, the hormone replacement not being the end all be all, and sometimes it's a temporary fix, meaning it's to help you. So the number one hormone in the body is insulin, right? PCOS is type 2 diabetes, or basically type 2 diabetes of the ovaries, right? Then you can look at things like endometriosis even, okay? That's specifically talking about hormones. But even Hashimoto's is a gut issue. So to me, it's you get rid of the low-hanging fruit first, okay? So if someone's coming to me and they're like, okay, my hormones are a mess, I definitely want HRT. Okay, that doesn't mean we give that. So the first thing you want to do is clean up the house, right? It's like if I'm going to paint this room, I got to remove the furniture and the pictures because I can't just go in there and start painting, okay? So it's the same thing with the body. I like to work with them with their food first, get their food all aligned, make sure they're already feeling well. What happens? Inflammation goes down. I mean, I've had clients that lose 15 pounds in a week.
Yeah,
by eating more food than they've ever eaten before, but changing the type of food that they're eating, right?
For sure.
So we clean up their body that way. I start looking at their minerals. How are they sleeping? How often are they going to the gym, or do they even work out, right? So looking at organizing their body first, getting the low-hanging fruit, everything that every person needs to do every day first. Eating clean, making sure you're hydrated, making sure you're taking your basic minerals, and getting to sleep on time, right? Once that is done, that's when I think it's time to look at the heavier hitters. That's when I get the blood work done.
Yeah.
My clients are like, oh, I want to get my blood work done right away.
It's going to be junk.
Well, we already know you're a freaking, dumpster fire.
Right.
I don't need blood work to tell me that. Let's get you calmed down, get some of the fires put out, and then let's get your blood work done so we can see exactly what we're working with. So it's kind of the same thing as far as that goes. It's getting all that together. And why can hormones change with that? Insulin. Insulin. If the more you can regulate your insulin, the less you're spiking your insulin, the less refined sugars and processed food, the less time you're eating in a day, right? The cutoff time of eating in a day. All of that makes a huge difference on your hormones, right? Because insulin comes first.
Right.
So if we can keep that down, keep that controlled, then you'll start to see some of the other hormones come online.
Sure. Now, before you start somebody on a diet, is there anything you test on them prior, or do you go over things that might be somewhat of a food intolerance, an allergy? How do you know what diet to start somebody on just by looking at them without maybe doing lab work?
Oh yeah, lab work, like I said, is the last. So first of all, you get a shit ton of questionnaires with me, right? The reason I do that is because I also like to get the person to understand their own body. Do you know how many people I've had fill out forms and be like, oh my God, it's right there. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
But also I get their diet plan. So it doesn't matter what I think your diet should be, right? It's what is your diet right now? It's like with everything else I do, meaning this. Most people come to me, they need to make a 180-degree turn. If you make a 180-degree turn with anybody, they're going to fail if you do it right away.
Right.
You have to take little steps. So when I see what somebody's eating already naturally on their own, then I can say, okay, here's the markers. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but I have men that come to me and they're like, oh, I'm a beast in the gym, I'm this, everything's great. And I look at their diet and I'm like, you're eating yogurt and granola for breakfast, and you're eating a protein bar for lunch, and then you might eat a dinner, and it's like, no, that's not helping you, right?
Right.
It's all sugar, it's all processed, even though it's cleaner, it's not McDonald's, it's not fast food, it's not pizza, but it all adds up.
Yeah.
So I think that once you get that going and you make those little increments to say, these are the little things we can change. And I can tell you this, because I've been doing this for so long, my research has taken me down many paths. Your food cravings tell me everything I need to know about you. So when I look at somebody's food plan and I'm like, wow, 100% sugar, right? Okay, we as humans don't crave sugar, believe it or not.
Right.
So I look at the gut and I say, okay, well, why does your gut want this? What's going on in your gut that says we want this? So I don't need to do blood work right away. And like I said, it's a waste of time. Once I get everything cleared up and get you squared away, and then I say, okay, now we can hear your body. Now we've gotten all the fires put out. Now I can tell you exactly what's going on. Now I can say, do we need blood work?
Right.
Do I need a heavy metal panel? Do I need a mold test? Do we need a stool sample? What do we need in order for me to get to where I need to be? But as long as my client's making progress, there's no point in spending money on those things right away.
Right. Now, is there a general rule when starting a diet that you follow? Like I've heard a rule, and I typically tend to use it on myself too. Like when I'm about to pick something up and put it in my mouth, right? Rick, did this exist 200 years ago? That's my rule. And did it come out of the ground or from an animal? You know what I mean? So is there a general rule you tend to follow when starting somebody on a diet? Like, so you can get it in their head, like, this is what you should be eating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. It is not hard for me to get my clients to change very quickly. The reason is because I give them a lot of food.
Yeah.
But it's all natural.
Right.
Okay, so the scientific side of that I'll get into in a second. But yes, my main question to them is why? Ask yourself why. Why are you eating that? Why do you want a snack? Why are you going to this place or that place? Is it needed? Okay? Most of the time, people are hungry. And so what do? They look for the quick fix. Most of the time, people are malnutritioned. So what are they looking for? Quick fixes. They're low in energy, so you're looking for sugar. You're looking for the quick little thing. You're looking for the dopamine rush.
Yeah, that quick glucose spike.
You got it. But when you are, so your gut biome, your microbiome, is looking for three things to know it's full. Glutathione, believe it or not.
Yep.
Or excuse me, not glutathione. I didn't mean that. Glutamine.
Glutamine.
Fats, and protein. Okay. Not carbohydrates. You notice I didn't say that?
Yeah, for fullness.
For fullness, right.
I mean, satiating meals are more fat, and good protein.
Right.
You know, that's what
and
satiates
you.
you.
And you can count fiber in there as well,
Sure.
right? But that's what your gut's looking for. Once your gut gets the amount it needs, it creates that CCK stimulation. CCK then triggers a vagal nerve to say to the brain, hey, produce leptin, I'm full, I'm done. And then it says, hey, stop eating.
Right.
Right? When you are full of those kind of foods, cravings go away. I mean, within a week, I have somebody all the time, they're like, first of all, I can't eat this much food, right? Because it's different when you're doing 2,000 calories of shakes and protein bars versus 2,000 calories of meat, vegetables, and fats.
100%.
It's a lot of food.
It is a lot of food. You don't realize how much it is.
You
know, when you cook it up, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to eat all this in a day.
Yes.
People don't realize when they get on these types of meal plans.
No.
Because it's not an easy quick fix, like you said.
No. And I'll tell you this, to this day, I have not one single client ever come to me and say, I'm hungry.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
It's still like, coach, I can't finish
Right.
it. Coach, I can't finish it. And what happens is naturally, that homeostasis point again, naturally their hunger comes down all on their own. I don't have to start cutting their food.
Right.
They automatically do it. It's fantastic. And a lot of times it's like, I need you to eat more. I need you to eat more. And they're like, how am I eating this much and I'm losing weight?
Yep.
Right? Because we're building muscle at the same time.
Right. Yeah. And that's a huge with the metabolism, you know, like as you're ramping up your metabolism, small frequent meals or however you decide to have your clients eat the meals, and then you're also doing the personal training and you're ramping up the metabolism that way and optimizing the hormones that way. Man, does it make a difference? And yes, you are hungrier and you do need those extra calories, you know, and I've toyed with every sort of diet known to man, you know what I mean? But the one that I tend to follow is like, did it exist 200 years ago?
Yeah.
Is it in a package? Probably shouldn't need it. You know, did it come in a package, a prepackaged? Does it have all these extra additives in it? I mean, we just stay away from those things, right?
Listen, if it didn't grow out of the ground and it doesn't have eyeballs, don't eat it.
I love it.
That's how you go. And here's another rule that I heard recently and I thought was kind of cool. If you're reading the package, if you can't go through the grocery store and pull those ingredients off of the shelf, you probably shouldn't eat it either.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And if you can't pronounce it, forget it. Just put it down.
So a lot of people think this takes a lot of time and effort, right? Yeah. So can you explain to people, like, I just don't have the time in the day to do this stuff? And a lot of it's habitual over time, you know what I mean? But a lot of these things, is there any on-the-go tips you have or just ways to get people, like, motivated about their fitness, so that they start doing these things and you break them into these good habits?
Listen, when people start to feel good, they want to keep feeling good.
Yeah.
Okay? It's getting them to bite that first bite of that beautiful red apple. Just take one bite and chew it up and swallow it. And that's it. Because people are coming to you and they don't feel good. They don't wake up good. They don't get a good night's sleep. They're brain fogged. They're this. And the people that are coming to me, like I said, they're balls to walls. They're high-powered people. They're athletes. They're done, right? They're done feeling certain ways. So once you start feeling good, man, nobody wants to go back to that. I mean, I literally have not had a bloated gut in probably 5 years.
Right.
But if you say to me, would you like a bloated gut? Oh my God. Like I already can feel it like, no, right? So a lot of times it's just getting them to feel good. And then they want more.
Yeah, 100%.
Then you're motivated to do more. And if your body isn't inflamed and it's not hurting, then you want to move. Then you start to see your muscles come in. Now you want to train more. Now you want to do more with that. And then I'll tell you the big thing too is, I never give what we call cheat meals. I don't believe in that. I don't even need to give refeeds because my clients are eating plenty of food. But I don't believe in not living. Okay? Listen, if I want a cookie, Adrienne's going to go get a cookie. However, I tend to make mine at home because eating one gluten cookie and cleaning it out for 21 days is not worth it for me. Right?
Yeah.
If I want ice cream, I'm going to go get ice cream. Okay? I don't program those things into your plan because that's another thing. That can cause food issues. That can cause food obsessions. I don't like that. But I will tell you this. I have a client and let's say they're doing really well for whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever. And they're like, okay, coach, I have this event coming up or it's game day, it's this or that. I'm going to drink alcohol. Listen, I'm not your mom. Here's what's going to happen to your body.
Yep.
Okay. Here's what's going to happen to your hormones for 21 days. Okay. Hormone wise, the alcohol is going to be out of your system in 72 hours, right? The food will be out in 72 hours. Hormonally, we got 21 days of shit to deal with. But I'm not your mom. You have at it. Or I'm going to have pizza. Or I'm going to have pasta. Two things either happen. They're like, man, I tried to eat it. I tried to drink it. And my body was just like, no.
You rejected it. Yeah.
Right. Or they eat it and they are just slammed to the floor. And they feel like total shit. The inflammation is back. Now, to me, that means we're not done with the process. Because you, as a human, should be able to eat all of that in moderation and have zero response. Zero. If I eat a piece of pizza, I don't feel no different. If I eat ice cream, I feel no different. If I eat lentils, whatever, I don't eat pasta or rice. But even if I did, I don't feel any different. So if you do, that means A, you overdid it, or B, you're not done healing your body and making it, for the lack of better terms, optimal, right? So once they do that, they're afraid of that food again.
I agree.
They're like, I don't want that. I don't want that feeling ever. So it's that line of teaching them that you have the freedom. I'm not a dictator to you. I'm here to teach you. I don't want to tell you what to eat. I don't want to tell you. You're not going to walk around with a scale.
They'll learn on their own.
Exactly. And you're not going to walk around with a scale.
Right.
Because that's not real life. And like you said, how do I make it real life? I have people that travel 3 days out of the week every week. So I have to teach them, listen, everywhere has vegetables and meats, okay? Do the best you can.
Right.
And it's cool to get their pictures when they're traveling and it's like steak and veggies,
right.
Fish and veggies, a salad and this, and you're like, oh, it was so much easier, And I always tell them, because I'm allergic to beef and chicken. That's really hard, especially when you're traveling. So it's like, listen, if I can find a way to make it happen, you can too. But don't think so hard about it.
I agree.
Do the best you can. You're going to be fine. And like I say to them, you can eat as many meat and vegetables as you want. No one ever got fat off of steak and Brussels sprouts. Right?
Yep.
It doesn't happen.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I think we had touched upon it on an earlier podcast of like the ketosis almost, you know what I mean? Your body's just not that glucose sensitive anymore. It's not that insulin sensitive anymore because you've been putting all these good foods in your body, and I ended up craving more of the good foods than I ever did the bad foods anymore. Once I got off that sugar kick, once I, stopped doing those things, those bad habitual things that I was doing all the time, my body just got used to the good foods.
Yeah.
And they're like, give me more of that.
Yeah.
So are there any things that you want to touch on, that you specifically do that, maybe we didn't talk about right now that.
Well, actually, the fact that you brought up ketosis, let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
So I think that there's this standard of paleo diet, keto diet, carnivore diet, Mediterranean diet, veganism, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Bullshit. Here's why. We work with seasons, okay? The human gut changes according to the season. We don't realize that, okay? The best way to keep your diet fun, so for instance, if you're on ketosis for a long time, I was on ketosis for 8 years.
Yeah.
Just because my body freaking loved it, right?
Yes.
Loved it, like you said.
My body reacted very well to the fats.
Very well.
Yeah.
However, being in ketosis for too long of a period of time makes you insulin resistant.
Yep, for sure.
A real optimized, again that word, human body should be able to go between the two without any problem, right? If I eat sugar, my body should know exactly what to do with it, and that blood glucose should come down with, or not blood glucose, but insulin should come down within that 30 minutes, right? An unhealthy person, that insulin is going to spike, and it's going to stay there for 2 to 4 hours. This is why I don't like small meals throughout the day, right? I can get away with that, but why? I don't want to be eating all day, right? I want to eat my time, and then I got shit to do. I'm trying to conquer the world here, right? So that's the first thing. So being on any diet for a long period of time is not good for anybody. So the way that I work with the biorhythm of the seasons, of the body, of Mother Nature, of whatever you want to call it, my clients get to change their diet every 3 months.
Right.
Like right now today, one of my clients came in and said, "Oh, it's squash season." And I'm like, yes, it is. You don't eat squashes in the middle of the summer.
Right.
You don't harvest them until now. They're now being harvested. So now my clients get to switch over from like the leafy greens, the fruits, some of the brighter, brighter vegetables, to now going into the squashes, the potatoes, the root veggies.
Right.
That's all going to be what we're dealing with right now. So
Right.
then what happens once that's over? Well, the harvest season's over.
Right.
How long do you think those squashes are going to last in your cellar?
Right.
If you talk about primal time, maybe till January, as long as you don't have a tribe to feed.
Right.
But if you have a tribe to feed, it's over in a month. So what do? You switch over into ketosis.
Exactly.
Then you get into carnivore. Then
Right.
you get into ketosis again, or
Right.
keto diet.
Right.
Then you get into Mediterranean. Then you go back to keto. Then you see what I'm saying? Then it
Yep.
goes into
It's a
paleo.
cycle,
then,
yeah.
Yes. So you literally get to change your entire food plan, all the sources of vegetables
Yeah.
that you can find every 3 months.
Now, do you recommend like fasting during those times as well? Like, because like during the winter times, you're saying getting into that ketosis or that carnivore when things aren't as readily available in primitive times.
Yeah.
Does that fasting take into account?
The best time to fast is during that time. And I
Yeah.
want people to understand this. Summer, we look at summer as a time to lean out because we want to be sexy on the beach.
Right.
Okay. You could be that anyway. Okay.
Right.
But believe it or not, fruit is made to make us fat for the winter.
Right.
We're supposed to get fat in the summer and then we lean out in the winter for those reasons.
Correct.
So if someone's going to fast, I prefer it to be more in the winter time. Fasting for me though is more of a tool. And I will say this, women need to stop fasting as much as they are. They need to stop this low calorie shit because most women's hormones are a wreck because they're not eating enough food. But women should not be as low in calories as a man can get away with.
Right.
Okay. Especially the older you get, the more closer to perimenopause, you want to pay attention to your caloric intake for sure. So again, that's where you get to play with all the fun stuff and unrespecting the body. And I'll tell you this, when you're following that biorhythm, when you're following that circadian rhythm, your body does those things so naturally.
Yeah.
You don't have to fight it. You don't have to feel bad about it. It kind of flows. And that's where you get into respecting your body as well as the way that your body, the rhythms are in your body.
Wonderful. I love that explanation. Thank you. So looking forward, what's the future for Coach Adrienne? What are you looking towards now? Is there anything new and exciting that you're going to be doing? Tell me a little bit about your future and what's going to be happening soon.
So much stuff. So my big thing is I want to help people as much as possible. For me to do what I want to do for humans, I need a team. So right now, my big goal is, get the place open, everything's open and running, bringing more people into there, making more connections with people, trying to do more talks, right? Seminars. I want to teach coaches to do this eventually, medical practitioners, body workers, how to combine all this stuff together, even getting soft tissue work, mineral deficiencies, things like that make a difference in how you respond. So really networking, I really want to create a community. A community not just for people that are coming to us, but also a community of people like us to realize that it's better if we work together to help more people. I don't want to fight you, right? I don't want to have a pissing contest with anybody, right? It's just how can we work together to create a community of people, of helpers that want people to come to us.
Yeah. 100%.
So that's my goal.
It's a beautiful way to put it, and that's what I feel like we're doing. As the more knowledge we get out there, the more we talk about this stuff, the easier people will see how easy this is to actually get into. It's not as difficult as people think. It's easier than they think. They just have to start.
Right.
So I really thank you for being on the podcast, the Drip Session. This is number 3, and you've been a great guest. So thank you so much for coming on and giving me a ton of knowledge and tons of things to think about, and hopefully a lot to our listeners as well.
Thank you for bringing me, for sure. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, so great to have you, and looking forward to working with you in the future.
Me too.